I am renewed.
I am equipped.
I am fearless.
I am loved.
I am more than a conqueror.
I am strong.
And I am confident.
I am a warrior.
And I am bold.
Hi, my name is Shelly, and I am confident. I'm Shelly, and I grew up here in Alabama. Grew up in a Christian home. Went to church every day that the doors were open, Sunday, Wednesday. Knew the Bible stories inside out. I became, in my preteens, rebellious. I began to venture out. By the time I was a teenager, I was sexually active. Around that time, I became a mom for the first time. Started hearing a lot of voices telling me what I wasn't, what I was, and what I would never become. It's probably about the age of 18, 19. I graduated high school. I found myself in a relationship. By the time I was 19, I was a mom again from the second kid. I was in an abusive relationship. A lot of times he would tell me, "You'll never be anyone. Who's going to want you? You're a mom with 2 kids by 2 different men. You'll never mount up to anything." Stayed in this relationship for years. Always knew there was something down deep inside that God was calling me to be. It was that uncomfortable feeling of knowing that there's something more out there. I ended up becoming employed with a great company. Was very confident in that job. It was the only thing I was confident in. And I knew I couldn't allow a job to define me, my kids to define me, or a man who was unworthy of my presence to define me. I knew I had to get out of this abusive relationship, but I continued for 2 more years. Finally, when I was about 27, I finally just cried out to God, and I said, "Help me. You're the only source I have at this point." And he recalls to me a scripture that's found in Psalms 46. It talks about how the world gives way, the wages of war are all around me. But in verse 10, there's one part that says, "Be still and know that I'm God." And that scripture I took with me, and I held on to it. I remember leaving. I remember the day I left. It hurt. It hurt real bad because he was all I ever knew. I found trust in him. I found hope in him. I found security in him. He was the one I thought I was going to live my life with. I left. It wasn't easy. I found myself homeless. I found myself thrown out in the yard. My belongings, all I ever had. I left, and I left everything there. I moved in with my sister for a little while. And I finally became independent and bought my own place. During that time of coming into an empty house, it was very lonely. However, I still found that security in knowing that I was proud of myself for keeping this job. I always wanted to pat myself on the back for being a great mom, for being a great employee. I met my now husband, and within the next year we became married. During that time of the transition of marrying and a new husband, a new home, I still felt like there was this emptiness in me. Me and my husband decided to have a child together, and still there was this emptiness. After having Emma, I was able to quit my job. Felt like I had lost everything I worked for. I'd lost the identity in my job, the security in my kids. I was on the floor alone, no friends, no life. And in that moment, I felt God tell me those simple words again in Psalms 46:10. "Be still and know that I'm God." See, a lot of times throughout the life, I can look back and say I always looked for something else. I always looked in other people to build my confidence up. But it was there on that floor in my living room that I just felt God say, "Find confidence in me." I remember sitting in the floor thinking, there's something more. There's something more out there that I know God is setting a fire inside of me of knowing that there was more out there for me. I placed my trust in everything but Him. As I allowed Him to just take control of every area of my life, not just my job, not just my children, not just the house duties, not just work, I gave Him every area of my life. I feel like there are more out there that are just like me, that allow everyone and everything around them to define who they are. But it's the ultimate God who defines who you are. He is the one who tells you, you are my daughter. I am proud of you. I found confidence in knowing that He who began a good work in me would see it to completion. Just as I am confident in knowing that He who began a good work in me is also beginning a good work in you. And just as He can see it through completion in me, I'm believing that He will see it completion in you.